Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening,
Good evening,
everyone.
ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
So we are on the last day of our 10-day sessions, and tomorrow, yes, we'll be of course meeting, but that would be a practice session. So today we are going to look upon a few strategies in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is more structured. I'll come to the explanation part, and
Good
we'll be
afternoon, ma'am.
good afternoon. And we'll be looking into one of the qualitative analysis. It's both done like quantitative as well as qualitative, but we'll be doing the qualitative analysis of the kinetic family drawing. Okay, but not much in details because children, when you're analyzing, you start analyzing children, there can be a lot of mismatches also. Okay, so we'll not get into the deeper analysis. We'll just try to figure out how we can use this particular medium to connect with the children and to find out more about them. How they can start talking about their family and all. There's another modality called the dollhouse technique, which is much more deeper, which goes into the more deeper layers of the family system. But this will give you an overview to start off with the relationships which the child has with their family members. Okay, so to start with, I won't share too many PPTs today. We'll make it into more discussion form. So the first thing, what idea do you have about CBT? It's the cognitive behavioral therapy sessions which we generally conduct with children. And when do you think you can start applying CBT on children? We'll focus on
When
anxiety
the
and fear today. Okay, we'll take two emotions and start discussing a few things. Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, when the child is old enough to think independently, can also justify his thoughts, can understand himself, can be aware, is pretty good aware about what his thoughts and emotions are. So preferably maybe after 12, 13 years.
Okay. Anyone else who would say that it can be done earlier also?
Actually, CBT needs some kind of journaling, noting down their thoughts. So it is better to start with teens. That's what I think.
Okay,
Right?
you feel it's preteens and teens and children who are very aware of what's actually going on. Okay, accepted. Anyone else who feels otherwise, like it can be done with younger children also? Yes, no. Just a suggestion, overview. We are all here to learn.
Ma'am, then we have to make them understand by activities
Yes, we have to
for
make
young
them.
children.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
We can work with them, but we have to simplify the words for them then.
Absolutely. Thank you. Simplifying the words, CBT, when we talk about it, okay, CBT for children is really heavy, but if we can simplify it, there's something also called visual CBT or art based CBT, which becomes much more connected with the children. Okay, you can start off as early as 7 years, maybe. Even younger children, it will work, but their way of presenting things or their way of psychoeducating them will be very different. The verbatim or the language you're using will be very, very different from what you'll be doing with maybe preteens and teens. Okay, it's only about the modality. It's kind of reversing the entire thing. The heavy words can be replaced with pictures. There's this whole lot of art based CBT is widely used everywhere. Picture based CBT, visual CBT, we call them visual CBT, so that children can connect easily and they can write down their own thoughts, even if they are not writing down, even if they are talking about it in group sessions. That is also a form of learning for them. CBT will be more focused on teaching them the skills which are required to monitor their thoughts or monitor their feelings, and then what to do about it. Okay, so this is the basic overview. I'm sharing a few slides, a few activities in fact, which can act as an icebreaker with children. I'll be uploading a few more worksheets on our website, where you can download directly. We are working on it. Our entire team is working on it. So maybe 5 to 6 more of these modalities will be given to you. Okay, just one moment, please. So we come to this part. This I find it very useful when I'm with the children. So when they are worried, or when they are experiencing negative thoughts, or they are experiencing some form of anxiety, worry, anger, all these things come to them readily, and they behave in different ways. Okay, this grid, what you can make is maybe 3 by 3 grid for the timing. I've just shown you the template. I'm coming to what is written there. You can always refer back and note down. But what I would like you to do is work on them. That 3 by 3 grid which you have written. You can write down what are the situations which can make you feel worried. Take any negative feeling. It can be anger. It can be fear. It can be anxiety. Any of the negative feeling, and then you put down in the grid 3 by 3 what are the situations, or what are the causes behind it. I'll just read out a few for you all. Maybe fear of spiders or snakes, or going to school for younger children. For you, maybe going to office, it's like a worrisome thing, maybe for a few of us, or scary thoughts, or guilty thoughts, or being sick, looking fat or ugly, having pimples, afraid of the dark, secrets I can't talk about. All these are certain options which you can keep it ready with you. Okay, this may be one of the sections which you can keep ready with you, and the rest of the grids, maybe 9 more, you can keep it empty. Younger children, it becomes way lesser. You're not working with so many grids. It can be a few ones which you can write. Maybe scared of the darkness, or scared of lightning, or when I'm feeling anxious, I'm scared of people. Simplify the verbatims. Okay, whatever you're writing, simplify. Younger kids. When they are coming to you, you can maybe, after the initial sessions, after you've spoken, after you've found out that this is the core problem area, you can have this grid which can be on colored paper, much more pleasing to the children to look at, maybe with a few pictures on it, and your options written on top, and a few options which are blank. You can always do it on a reusable, plastic sheets, where you can write down with a marker and then wipe it off. You can use that also. You need to create that template. So what they do is write down their own fear, or write down their own set of anger triggers. And then maybe certain things make you angry, and this is a great way to start off. When you have certain options with you, you exactly know where to start off. You're giving them options, multitude of options. If in case they don't have it there, they can write down their own. So that gives them a head start. They feel comfortable that yes, I know what exactly is making me feel scared. Maybe the darkness is making me feel scared, or the ghost is making me feel scared. So this is a way the child connects with you. They start connecting with you. You get information from them, which are important for the child as well as for your sessions. Yes, I'm showing the grid map. 1 second.
Ma'am, is the grid very important, or is it any layout is okay?
Any layout. Any layout will do, but give, the grid makes it more structured. You can have it written in bubbles. You can have it written within hearts or some toffees, based on what's the age level of the children. The kids will, connect more with pictorial things, as I was telling you. Older kids, teens, preteens, they like more of structured things. Okay, so you can use the grid any which way you feel comfortable.
Can you show us the slide of the
Yes.
grid, please?
One second. This is the one which I was talking about. One second. These are few of the options which you can give. May not be so many. It can be fewer. But if you have a lot of options, what happens is children find it easier to connect. Since you already have the options, and CBT is generally done in a very directive way. You are directing them. Children who have confidence issues, who do not open up much, who do not want to engage in certain activities, you can propagate these strategies, CBT strategies, in order to get the proper responses. Since you are giving them responses, they generally tend to respond to what is already there. Okay, so they feel less overwhelmed. They feel more confident in your sessions. Should I move on? This is one of the things which you can start off. This is kind of an icebreaker. This is kind of a starting point with CBT. You can replace these sentences with just one words, just like it's given: hospital, spiders, school, snakes, the dark, keeping the family safe, being sick. All these are simple words which you can just replace for the elaborate ones. Rather than writing secrets I can't talk about.
Sorry, ma'am. Just a second. If you are presenting, we are not able to see it. We are not able to view it.
Sorry?
If you are presenting, we are not able to view it. So people are asking, can you show the PPT?
Oh, okay. It's
Yeah,
not
able to view.
visible. Oh, let me
It's not
see.
visible
One
now.
second. One second. There's some error it's showing. Just a minute, please. Now is it visible on the screen?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Maybe there was some problem. So this is the thing, you can have your own options. You can brainstorm beforehand, before the session. What I do is I have those laminated grids, and I have printed a few, or I have a few handwritten also, and then I keep a space below. Okay, they can write their own things. When we are into the session, they can write down their own things, and once they are done, I just wipe it out. So it's easier. You can have those laminated sheets ready with you. It hardly takes any time to prepare them also. You just print it out and give it to the shopkeeper, he'll laminate it for you. I think that would be the easiest way to go about. Or alternatively, you can keep printed sheets with you. Whenever the children come to you, you can hand it over to them.
So sorry, you give out the sheets and you ask them to either tick a circle which connects to them.
Yes.
And
Once
that
you
will help
build your
us.
wrapper, once you've built your wrapper, you can always place the sheet, especially children who are not at all opening up, or they are not very confident about verbalizing things. You can always place it in front of them. You can give them examples. You can tell them, from here I can maybe pick out, I'm scared of the darkness. So what about you? What do you think you are scared of, or what do you think you are worried of? Okay, so they may start connecting with you. They may just point out. They may not speak anything. They just point it out at this one. And then you start taking cues that this may be upsetting for the child. So from there, you can weave your counseling sessions further. Any other questions here at this point?
So, ma'am, we start with CBT sessions when we feel that child needs them, right? So, first we start with the nominal activities
Right.
which we did beforehand, and if they are not opening up, we go with this.
Absolutely. First, try to do the non-directive way. Once you've built a good rapport with the child, and still, you find that something needs to be taught to the child, or something needs to, be concretely built with the child. to change their thought processes or to change what they are feeling about certain things, then you can introduce something tangible. That means these worksheets or coloring sheets, I'll come to it a little later, which they can work around, which they can get options from. Okay. Now, if a child is really, not very confident, he's having trouble to connect with you. So, what do you do at that point of time? You'll have a block in your sessions. You have invested maybe 3-4 sessions in non-directive play. Still, the child is not opening up. It's a cue that you need to introduce something which is very concrete. You need to give the child some direction so that you can proceed with the sessions. It's good to start off with non-directive techniques just to let the child be himself or herself, accept them, understand them. But in case you see there's no progress, that's the time you need to intervene something more concrete. It's more of a teaching learning method which we are introducing at one point of time. Okay, CBT is more about learning, psychoeducating the child to handle the situation. So you give something which is tangible, which is more concrete to look at and to view and to get options, to brainstorm. So that's an initiation which you'll be doing. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next part. This is one scale which I found very useful. This is the expression scale, as we say. And instead of a mood tracker, what we do is whenever the child has certain issues to do with emotion regulation, like for instance, the child has certain temperamental issues, the child fights with others, the child is aggressive, or maybe most of the time the child is or very sad or lonely. This scale opens up a lot of feedback for them. When you place these pictures, you can have your own set of pictures also. You can have a smiley card also, but scale it up, 1 to 10. So whenever they kind of come to your session, you can start off like, how are you feeling today? Like, can you pinpoint a number for your how you're feeling? Is it like you're on the very upset side, or are you on the very happy side? So once they start assigning certain numbers to themselves, they start understanding how they're feeling inside. Okay, it is not required to be verbalized, but they can only assign, they can only circle it. And then you know exactly what the child is feeling, or the child knows how exactly what he or she is feeling. Okay, it may be stated also, you can go into detailing, like when you're in school, how are you feeling? When you are at home, how are you feeling? So you can get a difference. If there are any differences, you can understand that yes, maybe there's something bothering him in school and not at home, or vice versa. And from there, you can start your conversation. This is one of the tools which we generally use, rating yourself. And this is pretty useful for young children because it involves expressions. Instead of these expressions, you can replace it with smileys. You can also, I don't know how much it would be feasible, I've never done it, but this method also applies where the child takes certain photographs of his expression and they paste it on a card and then they keep it with them. That's the emotion scale which they have. So that also you can try out. Any questions here? Anything you would like to ask here?
Ma'am,
Okay.
how can they identify if it is in the middle? They are not able to say very upset or very happy, but it is in the middle.
So you have to explain it to them. See, 1 means you're very upset. 2 means you're upset, but not that, down in the dumps. Then 3 means you're okay with yourself. 4 to 5 means you are somewhere in the middle, neither towards the happy side nor towards the upset side, but you are going about your day smoothly. Neither are you very happy, neither are you very sad. You're normally going around day-to-day activities without much of your thoughts. So you need to explain at every point, all these 10 points which you have, you can make it much more compressed. You can have a 5-point scale here rather than a 10-point scale. You can compress it. You can even have a 3-point scale where you can, make it into being upset, being happy, or somewhere in between. You can write down that. So when you're introducing this scale to the child, explain what 1 means, what 2 means, and all the same till 10, or whichever scale you are using. So explaining is a major part of CBT. You need to tell them what is what, okay, so that they know clearly what they are doing.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other question? Okay, then I proceed. This is, we are stepping up a little, where you can do this with yourself also. This is applicable for all age groups, in fact, starting from late childhood to adulthood. What you need to do is list down 3 things which you find most upsetting at this moment. So take out some time and do this work first. List down 3 things which is most upsetting at this moment. So I'm stopping my screen for the time being. I'll come back to it. You need to list down 3 things which is making you upset or worried. Any 3 things. You can ask the child to write down. If the child doesn't want to write down, they can verbalize. If they don't want to verbalize, you can ask them to draw certain things, maybe symbols, which represents their worry. Maybe if a child is having a tough time with bullying in school, they can draw a school with a sad face. You can always improvise whichever is working out with a particular child. So I hope you have written it. So next, what you do is have a scale again of this kind. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can have a scale. 1 to 10 would be good for older children, but for younger ones, compress it into 4 to 5, where 3 will be somewhere in between. So similarly, you explain it to them that this is the scale which you're looking into, and 1 means this, and 5 means this, and 10 means this. So after explaining, you ask them to write down 3 things which can be very upsetting for them at this moment. They either write it out, talk about it, or maybe use symbols or pictures to represent it. And then you ask them to put a cross against how they are feeling about the situation. Okay, is it very upset, or is it somewhere in between, or they are not bothered at all? Okay, not bothered at all, being very happy about it gives you certain indications. Can anyone tell me what it may indicate? What might it that indicate that someone who is having troubles, some upsetting moment in the life, but is indicating maybe a happy rating, towards the happier side, not much bothered about it? Yes, ignorant. Anything else?
Maybe suppressing.
Suppressing, yes. Don't want to talk about it, absolutely.
Might
These are
not
certain
be a
walls they are creating.
might not be a priority at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. It might not be a priority. Other people feel that yes, it might be something of a trouble for others, but the child doesn't have any realization. Feelings of inferiority, yes. Used to it always, yes, that's a good point. Some children are so used to negative remarks, negative things, that they just don't bother anymore. Scolding them just doesn't work out. No matter what you tell them, it doesn't penetrate them.
That's how
Emotional
they're conditioned. That's how
Yes,
they're conditioned. Yeah.
absolutely. That's how they are conditioned.
Given up hope.
Given up hope, yes. So this, in fact, if you work on this, you will find very surprising results. I've found very surprising results with children, that one thing which may be very stressful for them, say for instance, their hitting behavior. Children have a lot of tendency, any problem which they have in life, it somehow get represented through hitting behavior, pinching behavior, irritating others. They may not be that kind of a child, but it's transformed. But when you talk about it, when you ask them to write down, pinpoint what's the scale on that, they will more go towards 6 and 7, because they are not bothered. And since they are not bothered, they don't have the desire to change at all. That's why no matter how much you talk to them, how much teachers are telling them, how much they're getting scolding, how much they're getting rewards, they don't change. There's a total emotional detachment from the act, what they are experiencing. They just don't want to recover from that. They just don't want to come out of that. They are happy in that way because they're able to vent out their emotions in a particular way. So this gives you a very clear cut, cues as to how to go about your sessions, whether there is some sort of emotional blunting, emotional detachment, some sort of denial in the child which you're looking at. Okay, say for instance, in this example, I have not got many friends. It should be that a child is very upset, as stated in the example. But what if the child comes up with a 7 or an 8 towards the happier side? How would you, understand what's wrong? How would you understand?
Comfortable. He doesn't require any friends.
Mm-hmm.
So he enjoys his life alone.
Yeah, maybe he is enjoying or he may not be enjoying, but that sense of remaining alone is okay with him somewhere. Okay, I don't have friends, so I don't need to have more friends. I'm okay with myself. Nothing wrong in it, but if you see associated symptoms like feelings of depression, low mood, feelings of irritation, and then he's engaging himself into some other modalities, other things, that might be a source of information which you might just get. He's become too comfortable with himself or herself. That's why there is no desire to change. So this is an important part of CBT, where you start understanding or gauging how children or preteens, teens, they react to certain situations which or the stresses in their environment. You may change the verbatim of the question also. You may write down 3 challenges which you're facing right now, or 3 things which you are not very happy about, not happy, or 3 things which are bothering you at this moment, or 3 things which people talk about you, which are not very good. So you can keep on changing the statement or the question under concern, and you can ask them to write down, or 3 things you generally do with your friends. Okay, so you might come out with some addictive behavior which the child is engaging, especially with cell phones and the internet and the gaming behavior. You can always weave around questions with any aspect of their lives, and then you can get a clear reflection.
And could you say it's the personality of the child? Could you say that, like, in that sense? The
Uh,
child doesn't
personality-
want. Means he doesn't
Yes,
want to engage. He prefers to be alone. Many times we have introvert and extrovert, right? So the child may be an introvert.
Absolutely. It may be that the child is an introvert. There's nothing wrong in it. But as I told you, if you see associated things also, whether the other aspects of his life is intact or not. I'm an introvert. I like being with myself, but I'm not bothered by anything else, or I'm not having any issues or trouble around me. That's fine. But the moment they have these associated problems, like I feel lonely when I don't have friends, or I need to vent out somewhere, I don't know what to do with it, that's the time they need to even build a relationship. That will be a cue for you to understand that they have got too comfortable with themselves. Maybe you can encourage the child to build maybe 1 or 2 friends, not too many, but at least 2 friends can be there. Okay, the child can be an introvert. That doesn't mean that the child needs to be friendless all the time. Introvert doesn't mean that I don't have friends. It's just that I feel like being with my own self. But if it is coming up in this way, that the the child is cribbing about everything around him, and there is a indication of depression, childhood depression, or indication of loneliness, then you need to work upon. If it's a personality trait, then it's fine, unless and until it's causing you any kind of hindrance in your life. Any other suggestions or viewpoints on this? Anyone else would like to talk on this?
Ma'am, also the past experience could make this behavior come up. So when the child feels that he has been part of the group, but then rejection is coming back to back from different groups, he might want to stay alone and find some mechanisms to stay alone, but at the same time want friends, but there is no connection between them. There is something we need to work out in, like peer counseling or something that we
Yes.
need to help come up.
Peer counseling, that takes a lot of coordination. If you're looking into peer counseling, you need to ask the children, I need to ask the teachers, the parents, so that they can be incorporated. The safest way would be classroom settings, classroom interactions in this way. Okay, so it's not only the child find out different areas. See, it's an exhaustive list. Whichever question you are coming with, you can place the scale and see how the child feels about it. If you see that there is some discrepancy, that's the cue that you need to probe more into it. Okay, need to find out, not necessarily that everything will be a problem area. So you need to understand that which are the problem areas and which are the things which I need to work on with the child in my sessions. Okay, next one. Okay, this is kind of a role play kind of thing when you are doing it in a group. So this is the situation which we are giving you. Think of a time when you have felt unhappy and stressed. With a friend, act out the scene and show it to the group. So whenever you are engaging with children through acting, it becomes way easier to connect. Children really open up when they are engaging in acting. So you can have any situation given to them, and then they form a group and they act it out. I've had several classroom sessions where I've given them I've written a few instances on chits of paper, and they have picked it out and they have enacted the scene. And it
Can you
becomes
give an example of the instances?
Instances would be like when you are with your friend and you have had a fight. What do you generally do? Okay, something which they relate to on an everyday basis. Or you have forgotten to bring your homework. What do you generally tell your teacher? Or maybe when you are with your sister at home and she is not playing with you, sister or brother, sibling at home, she or he is not playing with you, instead they are being rude with you. What do you generally do? So these are what if situations which we are giving. Okay, what if situations are plenty. Anything which comes to your mind, you can give it to the child, you can write it down, you can have chits folded, and you randomly ask them to act out. It would be more of impromptu. They won't get much time to plan out and think and then act out. It would be just calling up two children in front of the class, and then they pick up a chit and then they act it out. So it will be more spontaneous. And once they are engaging in this act, they also tend to reflect what they generally do. Okay, so it's kind of an indirect way of learning how to problem solve. And when they are enacting the scene, you can have other children give them suggestions. Say for example, there's a negative ending to the play, so you can ask the other children to give the actors some suggestion where they can rectify their mistakes, or they can work out in a different way altogether in order to solve the problem. So that gives a lot of brainstorming. A lot of brainstorming is done in the group, and a lot of fun also. They laugh, giggle, and everyone loosens up. It's fun engaging the children in acts.
Hello.
In case,
Uh,
yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to do on a one-on-one session, ma'am? since the role play needs.
One-on-one would be like you have to engage yourself in that as well.
Okay.
Okay, so one more option can be puppets. If you're doing one-on-one, you can have puppets, you can have finger puppets, or you can have just toys who are talking, and you ask the child to enact that through puppets.
Okay, ma'am.
So
Thank
that
you.
will be engaging again. Nothing the child is verbalizing, but the child is engaging in something which is personal to them. You know, when you will be walking into a class with a lot of information about the child, you know exactly which areas to look into. So you can give maybe not direct situations, but indirect situations where the child needs help in. Okay, say for instance, a child remains aloof in the class. So you can give a situation like, when you see that none of your friends are present, what do you generally do, or what will you do? Okay, in class, so they come out, they act it out, they can move around the classroom. That's the way the child is also learning what to do in case I'm feeling lonely, in case I have no one in the class to talk to me. I need to initiate certain things from my end and go about talking. Okay,
So
and then you can have the class suggest the child also certain things which the child can work on. So it will be more like a drama, drama therapy and all which we do. It's more like a drama which the child is engaging in, not personally being threatened, or you are not teaching them anything, but he or she is engaging in the act as well as learning from it. Yes.
Ma'am, I feel that what happens that if the child is too shy and he or she is not comfortable in acting, what are the other ways that we can encourage the child to express?
If in case the child is shy, you can since it's a group activity, you can maybe assign a lighter task. Maybe she can help in prop making, or if you have planned sessions, or if it's impromptu, she can be there as a person who is just there assisting, maybe pulling the chair, or helping them organize the scene. Certain things which the
Like a
child can
helper.
engage in. Yes,
Like a helper.
like a helper, but we won't call them a helper, but they will be engaged in that group. Make a bigger group which kind of mixes with the entire group. It's not that just it's two of them and she has a major responsibility to hold on to. She can be in a group of 4 to 5 children, and then she can take part in other things which she's more comfortable with rather than speaking. Okay, she can act like inanimate objects. As per the scene, you can always suggest that maybe you can act, as a table fan, or maybe you can act like a tree. But then also there's involvement. The child is opening up. The child is learning about a situation which he or she is struggling. She is viewing or observing others, and then they are learning from it. Some kind of involvement will always initiate a lot of learning from the child's end.
Ma'am, can we take the parent self in this situation?
Parents, it would be difficult because in school settings, obviously, it will be very difficult. It's next to impossible. But of course, if you can arrange it, have it pre-planned, because parents won't come and just act in front of you. They will not be ready for it. So maybe a small program involving the parents that can be organized, but otherwise I'm not very sure if parents can be involved. But what is in your mind, like Pooja ma'am, if you can tell me?
Ma'am, like if the child are very shy, he will not express himself, then we can ask to the parents means whatever
Ask the
history
parents
behind
that.
it.
Oh, no, that would be again very, kind of intimidating for the child, because parents are there and they won't open up further. So it's more like peer counseling, which helps your peer group formations and how they work in groups. But again, parent involvement is very important. So our agenda is to let the children express, or let the children feel free. Maybe not in the first session, but with subsequent sessions, they tend to open up. If you can have a mute play, like no one speaks but you just enact, you can always have that also as a role play, as a drama in the class. So it would be just a mime. No one speaks a word, but you are enacting, and other children guess what you're doing. So that also opens up a lot of expression avenues for children. Okay, I've done this several times, and trust me, the entire class is silent first of all when the child is enacting, and then you have children who are suggesting. Groups of children, they are split into teams, and then they suggest what the child is enacting. So it's kind of fun also. So these are
Yes, ma'am.
various modalities which you can work on. You
That is
can use
absolutely right,
puppets
ma'am.
also.
And even we are I had made one chart, happiness and sadness, like a snake and ladder. 3D
Right.
type we had made, and it is also work very nicely.
Yes, absolutely. You can have games also in order to open up. There are so many games which gives you situation, and when you roll the die and you get one number, you fall on that number, you see what's written there, and you have to tell the answer before you proceed. So these games will also be very engaging for children, younger children. In fact, they love engaging themselves in these types of games, and then that's the time when they open up with their issues.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, next. Okay, next we are coming to the family drawing. So, what this doesn't need any screen sharing. Stopping my screen. So, what you do is on a sheet of paper, you draw out your family. It may be symbolic. You can draw stick figures, you can draw full member pictures, portraits, anything they are doing, something, certain things which they do, or you can also have symbols on it, on your paper. Pretty basic instructions. Ask the child to draw their family, how they see their family, what each of the family members do, how do they perceive them. Okay, so you can just tell them basic instructions. Okay, let's just draw one thing today. Let's just draw a picture of our families. When you say our families, it becomes much more common. They'll feel less threatened. So you can also engage in your own picture drawing, but again, you need to observe what the child is doing. So give them basic instructions that you can draw your whoever is staying with you. You can draw what they are doing, what they love doing, what they don't like doing, certain things which you need to add on to in the detailing part of the picture. Make them feel comfortable telling them that it may not be a perfect drawing. What if they tell you that no, I don't know how to draw? Just tell them, just draw stick figures doing certain things. That will also do. You can just show them that you can draw stick figures like this. So it doesn't matter that you have to draw elaborate things, especially for younger children, because they'll come up with this thing, I don't know how to draw. So just maybe you can just demonstrate a very simple stick figure, and then they start drawing that. Okay, this is what I have drawn. So it's very basic. It's not something which needs to look very beautiful or anything. You can always tell the children to make them feel comfortable about it. Once you're done, you let me know. I will see how you can connect to the family drawing. Ma'am, I think you're on mute. I'm so sorry. Okay, once they are done with the drawing, you can always, initiate some kind of writing from them. If they are comfortable writing, maybe a few words about each of these family members. Who are they? What they are generally doing. Okay, if they are not comfortable writing, you can always ask them when they are done with it. If they want to color, that's again a free choice. Let them color before they start talking, or while they are coloring, you can ask questions. I guess 2 more minutes and then we are good to go. Okay. So now, if I have to ask you to write down a few things about each of these family members, what would you write?
What they do the whole day, their roles maybe, where they go or where they be the all around day. For example, if you ask me about my family, I am always on my laptop for a while working, having lectures, being college as a master student. So definitely that. Mom being in kitchen, making food for all of us, being helping us around the whole house, like working the household chores. Dad going out for work and just having a suitcase and being with around at that. So that could be one thing. And my dada said, but he's a little ill, so he's almost time either just coming up for food and almost sleeping. So he's a bedridden as well. So that could be some things which come to my mind.
Okay. So this is what we are speaking about. Okay. And when we look at the family drawing, this is a typical drawing which I have done. Okay. What can you make out from this? Looking at this I'm telling you which one is what. Okay. This is the mother. This is the daughter. This is the husband. These are grandparents. Typical setup of a house, but what exactly is happening here? Look at the expressions, look at these two, and look at this. A child would definitely draw expressions. Okay, so expressions, you need to first look into the expressions of the people around. These two you can't make out. These are the TVs, I guess. Yeah, TVs. And this one, this fellow is here with the work, the laptop. This is the father.
He's frustrated because their smile is round, like there's a front smile, there's nothing at all. And the mother and daughter are happy because they're close to each other, and daughter having a good flower or making something of craft or maybe something.
Okay. What about others?
See, the father is very much engaged with his work, and he looks a little stressed. But mother and daughter, they are moving. Their direction is towards the grandparents, so they are
Yes,
very inclined to talk to them. But they are very engaged with their own activities, as they don't have anything else to do at this age. So they are engrossed in the TV. So they don't have the time for the, children.
absolutely. Thank you. Uh,
So,
this, yeah. Yes, ma'am. Please tell.
does the distance matters? Like
Yes.
father is so she has drawn somewhere else, and she's
Yes.
close to one grandparent. It's like, is it like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you're looking at the drawing overall, you'll see it's spaced out.
Yeah.
There's no connection. Connection is somewhere missing. The only people here are together are the mother and the child and the grandparents together, reflecting that they may be separated. They may live in a separate house altogether, maybe. Or even if they are in the house, they generally are together watching something all throughout the day. This is the prime observation of the child. The mother may be happy, but can you see the child approaching, as ma'am was saying, approaching the grandparents rather than looking at the mother? So somewhere the mother is more attached with the child than the child with the mother. It is more towards the external other family members, which the child is more attached to. And the father is right at the corner, aloof from everyone. And the expression will tell you a million things. Look at the expressions of the family members. Okay, and even if the father was over here having a very happy expression, maybe a lot of flowers around and a lot of music around and all those things, that also gives a sense of detachment from the family. So distance definitely matters. How much the distance is, maybe there are certain issues with the wife and the husband. Maybe they are not aggressive, but maybe that connection is somewhere missing. Even the child is looking at the grandparents, not the mother, not the father, nowhere near the parents. A sense of detachment. Maybe if you look into your own drawing, see the spacing with each of your family members and see how you are connecting with them. Okay, for children, expressions are major part. That's what they are observing day in and day out, and that's how they are learning how to deal with themselves. So looking at other people's expression around them is very important. That's the only way they understand or they feel secure or they know what to do exactly. When a child sees a very yes, ma'am.
They may draw this thing actions also, no, ma'am.
Yes, absolutely.
Like maybe if something that's going on that's not right, maybe violence also.
Yes,
Children
absolutely.
immediately pick up that, and they're innocent. When they draw, they will draw. What do they see?
Yes. Actually, because they are doing it from their subconscious level. Maybe they are witnessing it, but when you ask them to tell you that how's your, how much do you love your mother, how much do you love your father, they'll say that I love them both. Or how much, when do you go, how do you spend your family time, or how do you spend time with your parents? They will say all the good things on earth. They will never come up with certain things which are disturbing for them. But the moment they start drawing, it's a reflection of their subconscious mind. They will exactly draw how they look at their parents, how they look at their family members. And the spacing, of course, will matter in this case. Observation from their end would be, I'll give you one simple example. Say the mother is frowning and is very angry. Okay, the child looks at the mother and understands that something is wrong, so I should behave myself, or what should I do at this moment? I know my mother is angry, so this is what she does when she's angry, and that's how the child starts behaving. Maybe she'll seclude herself, or maybe the child will go away from there, or will start crying. The moment the mother is angry, she knows that's the cue that there's going to be a big fight in the house. Okay, so everything gets down on the paper. Also, if you know how to analyze the colors, if they're coloring, if there's a lot of heavy coloring on the paper, that means there's some form of anxiety going on in the child regarding the family. if there's a lot of black, a lot of red, a lot of very bright yellow, or a blue, black, all these colors resemble that there is something which the child is struggling with in the family system. And as ma'am was saying that yes, they might draw something which is, some actions which are going on in the house. Maybe a loud, if I draw.
Ma'am, you're on mute.
I don't know, sorry. If I draw the lines over here near the father, that means the father is always shouting. They may not express something, but they may represent some very important information about their family, which is of course for your personal use. This is just a reflection on as to how the dynamics of the family is. The parents will come and tell you everything is perfect, nothing is wrong, the parents are not fighting, nothing is happening. But even if the parents are not fighting, the distance between the two, what the child perceives, will give you a lot of information as to how the dynamics are. And of course, you can't go around telling the parents that no, you're not well connected. But yes, you can work with the child very subtly, and also with the family. You can call on parents and then suggest them certain bond building activities which will help them. Okay, so this is a very nice way of understanding family dynamics in the most easiest way. In fact, you won't even take much of a time with this. If you look at your pictures, yes, ma'am, please.
Please finish, then I will.
No, it's okay. You continue.
You just said that in the drawing that this drawing shows that the father is shouting. Maybe. Huh? So when we know that, okay, when we come to know that the father is actually shouting all the time, then what can we do about it with the child actually? Because we are not talking to the parents over here.
Yes, a valid point. As you find out certain things from the the drawing, you can start in asking the child certain questions. I see the father, is he worried, or is he angry, or is he shouting? The child gives you an answer. When you're giving options, the child gives you an answer, or the child will rectify you. No, it's not about worrying. It's just some loud noise coming from the laptop all the time. Another cue that the father is overworking. There's no maybe violence in the house, but the father is overworking. Is always engaged in some form, for some kind of work or the other, and there is a detachment from the family. So maybe next time when you meet the parent, you can ask about the schedule of the father, how he spends time with the child, and then maybe suggest on those lines. If in case the child tells you, no, father is always shouting, that's why I've drawn such lines over there. If the child expresses that way, you can always ask. The next question would be, what do you generally do when your father is upset? You obviously don't say when he's shouting. When your father is upset, what do you generally do? Do you run to your mother? Okay, give them options if they are not talking. And when she says that no, I run to my grandmother, then obviously some connection with the mother is missing. Because that's the natural instinct of children, that they will first go to their mother for safety, especially younger ones. So you need to find out that yes, there's some problem with the mother, with the father. So the child somewhere is missing that warmth from the parents. You can maybe in the next session with the parents, you can subtly put it across that yes, you can start doing certain bond building games with the child, or you yourself can implement certain things which can make your bonding much more stronger. Okay, and even with this, you can ask that how does your mother comfort you? Is she also upset when father is shouting? Maybe she is. What do you do in order to make her feel good? Just to gauge what is actually happening there. And the child will give you a lot of information unknowingly.
Thank you, ma'am.
So this is the way you will connect. And the moment you start off implementing this with the children, you will see different patterns. Now, since we are adults, we are very much aware that this is a kind of a projected technique, so I should be very careful about things. But for children, they have no thought process of why am I doing it. It's just another piece of drawing. And that's the way they will connect with you. You're not going to give them the analysis, but just pick up cues from the picture which you feel needs to be interrogated, and then weave a story around it. The moment you start weaving stories, they will open up.
Ma'am, will this work on college students?
College students, again, they have already have a set of, they're very much aware of what's happening, so may not be, but you can always give it a try. There's no harm in trying, but this generally works with younger children. When they are more into
Since
the-
I'm a college counselor, I just wanted to know.
you can always give it a try. All these projective techniques are very helpful, in fact.
Yeah,
even if
that's
they are
very
not
true.
even if they are not giving you the exact thing, they will somewhere or the other there will be a slip. So you just need to pick up that slip and start talking.
Okay,
So
thank you.
for adults, we use a house tree test. So it is similar on these lines.
Similar
so it gives a
lines.
lot. Yes.
Similar lines.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What if children is not good in expressing by their drawings, or if the child is not good in drawing, then what to do?
Another method which I generally do, I don't have that box right now, otherwise I would have shown you. I make clip arts. Either you can print it out, you can have pictures of the family members, you can have puppets,
Okay.
you can have cutouts of maybe the mother, father, child, the girl child, the boy child. Similar cuttings you can keep, maybe from the newspapers, magazines, or you can print it out, you can hand draw it. Okay, or there are several options. You keep them with you, and whenever the child is coming, you just ask them to place it if the child is not comfortable drawing. That is
Okay.
another way you can engage it. They just pick
Okay.
up and then they place it, and then they kind of write down in the bubbles what they are doing, what are the expressions. They write it down. You can also have templates which they can cut out and put an expression while they are labeling the family members. But most of the time, children do engage in drawings because that's the medium which they are connected to. Very few children you will find that they don't want to draw at all. Okay, so
Yes.
this is another way which you can engage. You can have these templates ready. Maybe father template, you can have a sad face, angry face, certain faces which you can, are most common expressions with the mother also, with the child also. So similarly, they can just pick up one and place it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
In case
Excuse me,
also,
ma'am.
yes, ma'am. Yes,
When a
ma'am.
child is not able to draw properly and there is no expression or something in that picture, so how can we go with it?
No expression in the sense, ma'am.
So the child is not able to draw it in a full-fledged thing. So like a stick figure, they have drawn it without any expression, like kind of angry or smile or nothing is there. So how can we understand and go with it, ma'am?
Is this the expression which you're talking about? Or there will be no expression?
So it's kind of, ma'am. If it
So
is like
this is also an expression. This is basically indifference.
okay.
Okay, so that is what they are feeling. Maybe the entire family is kind of very solemn and very stern with things. They don't generally express. So that can be one indication.
Excuse me, मैम.
Yes,
इवन
ma'am.
हम
Okay, ma'am.
ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं कि अगर कटआउट बना ले विदाउट एक्सप्रेशन और बच्चे से कहें कि बेटा प्लेसिंग भी करो और साथ में एक्सप्रेशंस भी, है ना?
Absolutely.
ताकि
You can do
yes,
it. Yes, yes,
Yes.
of course. सबसे अच्छा है मैम if you can have laminated sheets. That's the most easiest
Yes.
form of having it. If you have the laminated sheets, you can just ask the child to maybe वो board marker जो है ना उससे
yes, ma'am.
impression बना के आप कीजिए. Then you can rub
Yes.
it off. Easiest
Okay,
way. You laminate your work. Laminate your tools. It becomes easier. You can reuse it. Okay. Another method is the sand play method, where you have a big tray and tray of sand, and then the children place certain animals, certain objects, and then you understand what can be going wrong with the child. Okay, what are the conflicts? What are the things which are going in the head of the child?
Ma'am, so you mean that each animal represents a kind of
Yeah.
conflict within the child?
Yes, there are wild animals, there are domestic animals, there are fences, there are trees, there is water. So all whatever the child uses on the tray, it will give you a kind of cue as to what is actually happening. What all conflicts are going on.
But ma'am, with a very young child, they are not very exposed to the world. It will become difficult, right?
They are not.
Very
Sorry, they are
exposed
not.
to. If you take a young child like 4, 5, to do a sand play thing, ma'am, they will not understand. Okay, a cat is or a tiger is.
No. The child doesn't need to know the symbols. They just pick up a few toys on the sand and then they just create a scene. They just play with the sand.
So it is not with regard to the character or the
No,
animal that they have picked.
not at all.
No,
That is
I
only
understood.
for-
I understood in that sense, like a tiger or something
No,
more
no.
dangerous. No, because the child doesn't have understanding of the world. That's what I thought, and that's true.
Right.
Yeah, just a scenario action. Yes, I can understand.
It's just for your knowledge that each animal will mean something for the child. It is not also general, as you're saying, ma'am, that a tiger can be very aggressive, or the tiger can be some form of a wild animal which a very young child may not know. Maybe a 3-year-old may not know.
Yes, they may not know. They think, oh my god, it's a tiger, so cute. It's the child
Yes,
after all.
yes.
In that sense.
So what you do is what you generally do in sand play therapy or any symbol play. You ask the child to assign meanings to it. Like, I can see this animal. Okay, this which animal is this? So the child names it. Maybe if the child knows about it. Okay, and what does this animal do? So the child is assigning some activity for the animal. This animal is very scared. The tiger is very scared. Okay, find that the tiger is very scared. So what will he do next, and what is he scared of? The tiger is scared of maybe the bird. Okay, for a child it can be anything. There can be any characteristics which are involved.
I understood, ma'am. Thank
So,
you. Like what they
that's how we
assign
go.
what they assign the meaning behind the character or the figure that they are playing with.
Absolutely, it is not what we are assigning, it is what they are telling us. Okay, if the child tells a rhino this is a horse, it is a horse. We do not interfere.
Yeah, I got your point, ma'am. Thank you.
Excuse
Okay,
me,
yes ma'am.
मैम मेरा एक एक्सपीरियंस है फैमिली एजुकेशन में ही आई एम वर्किंग विद अ गर्ल एंड शी लव्स टू वॉच डोरेमोन. So when she talks about Nobita's family, she says नोबिता की मॉम तो हमेशा उसको मारती रहती है, फिर भी नोबिता नालायक है. वो बच्चे की वर्डिंग है. लेकिन जो शिजुका है उसकी मम्मी तो कभी नहीं दिखाती. उसकी मम्मी उसको कैसे पढ़ाती है? वो तो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है और वो बहुत वेल बिहेव्ड है. कहीं ना कहीं बच्चे की बात तो ठीक है. इट मीन्स वो जानना चाहती है कि उसकी मम्मी उसको कैसे पढ़ाती है. मेरी मम्मी मुझे कैसे पढ़ाती है, कैसे पढ़ाना चाहिए मेरी मम्मी को मुझे.
That is how they are relating. वो लोग ऐसे ही relate करते हैं through cartoon characters, through animal figures, through certain other acts of play. So these are the way they connect. It's not the normal way which we connect as adults. It's not through only talk therapy which we'll understand. They need a variety of modalities in order to engage in the counseling session. And child counseling is the toughest job on earth. You don't know. Children are so unpredictable.
एग्जैक्टली. इनफैक्ट बच्चों को समझने के लिए उन्हीं की एज में जाना पड़ेगा, उन्हीं की लाइफ से रिलेट करना पड़ेगा. देयर इज नो अदर वे आउट.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, assignment to all of you. Tomorrow we'll be doing certain case studies. Okay, that will be your assignment, how you are engaging in the same. And there will be one more assignment which I'll be sending you on your WhatsApp group and your mail. So that will be a simple assignment. After you submit, you will get your certificates.
What time
Okay,
tomorrow?
so tomorrow 4 o'clock again.
Tomorrow is the last day.
Tomorrow is the last day.
Getting over so fast. Okay, all having such a nice day.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, the second assignment that you mentioned right now, is that for the non-winners also?
See, I've announced that those who have been with us for all this while, we are opening up for them also. So in case you're in the class and in the group, you will get your link for the assignment and you'll get your certification as well.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
So we are
Ma'am,
supposed to
may I-
finish our assignment and mail it back to you, or
Yes, there will be a link where you need to upload it.
When is the
that
start
has to be
date?
done by tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow. I'll send you the link tomorrow by end of day so that you can work on it and you send me maybe by the weekend. Okay, so you'll get 3-4 days time.
When is the start date?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Tomorrow. I'll send you the link tomorrow in the group.
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not in the WhatsApp group. Can you add me?
Can you please text us because we have added many of them. So if you text us, we'll